Hello there, happy Thursday. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about various things, primarily meditation. So I'm entering my usual meditation position where I'm just sitting on a pillow folded in half under my butt, so that raises my hips up so that my knees can be grounded into the floor. And I really enjoy meditation, and it's really simple. It's just a really easy way for me to get focused and to relax. And I've had some really profound experiences with meditation, and I'd just like to share kind of what my experiences have been like and how my practices, what practices I like. And I think it'd be cool if you shared some practices that you like, ways that you kind of get in the zone or relax. Or one thing I'm going to talk about is activating the right brain hemisphere and having like this whole brain action going, because I really feel like that's what meditation and yoga do. They activate both sides of the brain, whereas usually we're always on the left brain hemisphere, which is the logical, analytical, constantly thinking hemisphere, and then the right hemisphere is more of the in the present moment, creativity, non-linear kind of spatial thinking. And so when I meditate, I actually try to activate the right side of my brain and kind of have this whole brain hemisphere action going. So it's like back and forth playing tennis, the two hemispheres. And when I activate the right side of my brain, I just kind of imagine it like lighting up, or almost like my right hemisphere is a fist and I'm flexing it. So I just kind of sit here and try and relax and just imagine my right hemisphere lighting up. And it's really amazing what that can do. And there's a lot of science behind how the right hemisphere is lit up a lot more in Buddhist monks and people who meditate. And so I highly recommend trying to play with your brain and light up your right hemisphere. But what I want to say is that when that happens, it's really amazing what the changes that you can see just when you kind of seep into that state where both sides of the brain are in sync. And it happened to me yesterday when I was in yoga. And yoga, I feel, is a great way to get the whole body relaxed and balanced and all the energy flowing, so that after yoga you can meditate and just sit there and be present and just really enter the present moment and activate both sides of the brain. And when it happens, it's like you open your eyes and it's like, whoa, what happened? It's like everything kind of becomes lighter, everything has a little glow to it. I looked at some of the people around me and it was like their whole body looked like it was new, and the light was shining in through the room, and all their skin looked like this interesting formula that it felt like I had seen the world like that many times before, and I have experienced this several times. And it kind of felt as if that's what it was like as a kid, seeing the world as this kind of glowing place of wonder. And I feel like that's what happens when you activate the right side of your brain. And so other facets of this experience is like, I mean, I often feel like a lot lighter and just as if my vision had expanded almost. And I think that also has to do with the right hemisphere of the brain having expansive vision and feeling like you can perceive space a lot more than just objects. So if I'm sitting in this room, I'm really aware. If my right hemisphere is activated, I'm really aware of all the space in between everything. And if you think about it, no objects could actually exist if there wasn't space around it. Everything would just be crammed together. And so space is just as important as objects. And quantum physics and as things are showing that in a molecule it's almost 99.9% space, which is really interesting. It's just emptiness. And only that 1% is supposedly matter, but a lot of people say it's not even really solid, it's just energy. And so anyway, meditation, I've had these profound experiences, and I think they really go back to activating both hemispheres of the brain. So I'm going to post a link to this woman, Jill Bolte Taylor, who has her book called My Stroke of Insight. She suffered a stroke, and her left hemisphere had a huge hemorrhage in it, and so she was thrust onto her right hemisphere. And she describes her experience, and it's very similar to a lot of experiences I have had, where you're so much on the right side of your brain that you look at things and they just seem new and different, and it's really cool. It's really fantastic. And this is another book which just kind of catapults me into my right brain hemisphere and really a whole brain hemisphere, because our left brain's almost always activated, but when we do the right side, it's like both are together. So this book, I feel like when you just read it, even if you're really stressed out or something, just reading it starts activating the right side of your brain, and then you're like, whoa, okay, I get it. So this is a really cool book. And one other thing on my mind is how meditation links up with environmental activism or issues. Like, I was at this peak oil lecture last night, and it's like, holy cow, civilization could collapse in 10 years, because of peak oil, not to mention all these other factors. And it's like, how am I going to sit around and meditate while all this is happening? Well, I think that meditation is a very important step in the faces of all these problems. And I feel like one thing is, no matter what you're doing in your regular life, even if you meditate for 10 minutes, that allows you to have less stress, and you're able to focus more. And if you're activating both sides of your brain, it's like you have more power, more creativity for solving whatever problems you're working on. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect is, I believe that really the root of all our problems is separation from nature, separation from other people, separation from ourselves, not being honest with ourselves, not even listening to our own bodies and our own feelings. And meditation is a way of reconnecting from that separation, reuniting with the fragmented parts of ourselves, reuniting with other people, and actually treating people with compassion and not flipping out on them for no reason. I feel like meditation is very helpful with that for me. When somebody yells at me, I'm not just ready to respond. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to respond calmly to this antagonism. And also, meditation allows me to feel connected with nature and actually and I mean everything is nature, but the natural world, especially, I feel like when you're activating your right brain and being in the present moment, you can really experience nature as it is. And the left brain is all about naming and labeling and objectifying things, but the right brain is just like, that's how it is. And one time I walked outside after meditating and I looked up and the birds were just playing, and I was like, whoa, this is what the birds are experiencing all the time, you know? They have their own little universe up here in the trees, and they're just chirping, having a good time. They just live in the present moment, but we're all trapped up in our left brain and our own thoughts. We can't even experience life in the present moment. So I probably just was rambling a lot, but I think those are some important things to ponder, and I would love to hear what your input is and what your practices are. I just was watching a video about binaural beats. That's like a way of getting both hemispheres activated. And I've also been doing Kundalini yoga and Vinyasa yoga, and those have helped me a lot. But I'd be interested as to what you use or what you intend to use, because setting intentions are very awesome as well. So, peace. Happy Thursday.